Imagine if you can instantly translate a rant like this to a polite statement that you can email to your boss like this. Well, what you just saw is made possible right now by GPT-3, which is OpenAI's latest and greatest machine learning model in the NLP space. You may know about AI or machine learning, but models like GPT-3, which were trained on basically all of the internet pre-2021, make AI accessible to anybody. And its use cases are endless. In this video, I'm going to take this idea all the way to completion and show you all of the steps in between. I haven't done any pre-work, so you're going to be going along this journey with me as I build this app. This is by no means a how to create an AI app video because I don't have much direct experience with the React Native framework that I'll be using today, and I may take some inefficient turns. However, as an experienced Python developer, product lead, and ex-engineering lead, I want this video to show you how I tackle problems personally. I want to empower all of you just to start building your MVPs. Here's what I'm going to run through today, and yeah, let's get right into it. Let's start off by scoping what this MVP is going to look and feel like. In startup terms, the MVP is just the minimum viable product that gets the point of the app across to its end users. In this case, I need the app to do 4 fundamental things: take in a user rant, process the input in order to obtain an output, show the output to the user, and lastly, since running these models costs money that can add up quickly, I'm going to incorporate ads and tips to offset that cost. Now I'm going to get right into designing this app. So Figma is actually my program of choice for designing apps and even things like resumes and web pages. And right now I'm just going to add an iPhone 13 Pro Max frame so that we can work with the size that I intend this app to be used for. Okay, so I'm actually going to speed up this whole design process because the nitty-gritty is not that important. The important thing is that I'm going to be using icons from the Semantic UI React library, and I'm going to just make a simple translation type app. So the design's not that important, the functionality is more important. So I just added this section because I just wanted to give a little example of what the app is capable of, and also give a little more context to where the responses are generated. Again, the design has to not be that flashy or anything. I'll probably change the colors of some things, but all in all, yeah, I'm just gonna go from here. I'm okay with how this looks right now because, again, it's got to be really simple so that we can actually get to coding, and we can definitely refine the design as we go. But I just want to get core functionality out there right now. I'm walking through the creation of apps like this because I want to empower all of you to create your own apps. And who knows, one could actually end up turning into a company or a passive income stream for you. And before I show you how I'm actually going to code this app up, I want to quickly talk about CamScanner, which is an app that's really cool and available on both the Google Play Store and the App Store. CamScanner has a bunch of cool tech built right in, so is much more than just taking pictures of your documents. First of all, you don't have to have your phone's camera straight when scanning a document or a business card. The app will automatically correct the orientation of the document as it processes. And for whatever reason the orientation isn't exact, you can easily fix it. Using OCR or optical character recognition, CamScanner can identify the text, which not only allows your documents to be searchable by the content, but also allows you to convert those documents to things like spreadsheets, Word documents, and PDFs, all from your phone. There's a growing suite of scannable document types and image-enhancing features that make this app a no-brainer to have. Above all, CamScanner organizes your documents in the cloud for easy access across all your devices. You can securely store things like business cards, your IDs, or receipts that you're just trying to keep records of. Check out the link in the description to download CamScanner today, which again is available on both iOS and Android. Huge shout out to CamScanner for sponsoring this video. Like I said earlier, GPT-3 was trained on all of the internet before 2021, so I wanted to show you some pretty cool things that it can do. So now I'm in OpenAI's playground, which you can access with the beta.openai.com/playground URL. you'll be able to look up different examples on this tab, but I'm going to quickly run through some examples myself so that you can get a better idea for what this playground can even do. So here you'll be able to change the different models. DaVinci is their most advanced model. It's the slowest and also costs the most. Whereas Ada costs the least, is their fastest, but also isn't as smart. So it can't do as complex of tasks. I'm gonna demo everything in DaVinci just because it gets the point across the best. So I can put something like, what is the meaning of AI? And it'll give a very nice, well-thought answer. Or you can do something as simple as like, hello. And the responses here vary so much. Since it was trained on all of the internet, it just tries to figure out what comes next in the sequence. Right here, it just kept going, kept rambling. And if I were to just delete this and run it again, we're going to get a completely different answer. So here it finished hello with world. My name is, insert your name. My name is John Doe. Since it is a completion type model, you're going to have to push it along if you want it to do exactly what you want to do. So I can type something like, you are a chatbot who takes on the persona of a very strict mother. And then I'll put something like, child, can I go to the park with my friends right now? It's just 8 p.m. And then I'll have it respond as the mother, and I'm just gonna see what it types out. See, it responds, no, you may not go to the park with your friends right now. It's 8 p.m. and it's getting dark outside. You need to be home and in bed at this hour. Because I prompted it with the chatbot is a persona of a strict mother, this is the response that I was expecting, and it did exactly that. So I can put very lenient up top. Oh, don't know how to spell for a second. And so I'm going to do the same thing. And yes, you can go to the park with your friends, just be home at 10 p.m. So the persona that I prompted it with, it actually did. And that right there shows you some of the different aspects that GPT-3 is good at. Something like this is very powerful, and just like a decade ago, this would have seemed really scary, but now something like this is at just your fingertips. Okay, OpenAI's GPT-3 Playground is cool and all because you get to figure out what types of responses that you can expect. But how are you gonna actually connect to it? Well, that's where APIs come in. And right here, I'm on OpenAI's API page where we can see the different documentation involved depending on what like application you're going to be working on, or depending on what language you're going to be working on. As you can see, in Python, we can just pip install OpenAI. In our case, I'm probably going to just be doing an npm install OpenAI, which I can actually go ahead and do right now, just to make sure I have that ready. And so here, as simple as that, we're able to get the different packages that we'll need to run. So the things that we will need, let's see. Okay, so this is more of the code snippet that we'll be able to use. And yeah, we'll need the organization key and the API key, which you'll be able to find right over here in this menu. Cool, so now that we know how we're going to eventually connect to GPT-3, let's go actually code that React app so that we can put things where they need to be. Okay, so I just opened this web page where you can see React tutorial, how to build a text translation, PWA. I want to emphasize that in this series, I want to show you how to get from point A to point B as fast as possible. From point A being the idea and point B having a completed MVP. And for me, that's not reinventing the wheel. So I just Googled like how to build a translation app, and this is what I found that has really good information and the bones of what we'll need, especially because I don't interface with React on a day-to-day basis. Stuff like this just helps push things along much quicker. So as you can see, the app that he's created just has text translator, some fill-in box, choosing the language, and then what the output actually is with some sort of button. If we go back to our Figma design, we can see that it's pretty similar, except for the drop-down menu that actually chooses the language. So this will actually be very, very useful. And in the end of this document, he actually shows how you're going to connect to APIs. And since we're going to be using GPT-3's API, this will be useful information as well. So first things first, I have my React app open over here, and I'm going to start putting the bones that are going to make it look and function more like the translating app that we're expecting. So I'm going to scroll back to the top, and we see here, this is where he's putting in the heading of the actual application. So I'm going to take this portion, and I'm going to just copy and paste this over this portion of the app right here. Make sure to semicolon that. And I'm going to run that. And now we see Texty Translator pops up as expected. I'm going to change this to Rant Translator because that is what I have over here on the design. And from here, I'm going to ignore formatting for right now because I'm just trying to get everything working. I'm going to then go and make sure we import all of the right elements over here. And from here, I'm going to go ahead and copy over the rest of the app body that we'll need for this. And I'm going to paste that right after this div. Oh, put that in the wrong place. Let me back out. Okay, yeah, I need to put it after this one. Okay, after saving that, you can see that a lot of what we want is already there. So we don't need this language select. Saving that. And we don't need the icon for the translate button. And I'm going to make that blue. According to my Figma file, I want the translate rant button to be in between both text fields. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to call this translate rant. And I'm going to take this button and put it in between these two fields. And there we go. Again, I'll worry about padding and stuff later on. This is not really an issue to me. And right now I need to change like this fill-in text. So I'm going to go over here, copy that, put that in here. Okay, so right now we're at the step where we want to be able to call an API and get some response that we can query using the input text variable that we've created. And then put that into the prompt somehow to get some sort of response that we'll be able to pull out and actually get the output for our translation. OpenAI has pretty good documentation, as I mentioned earlier, so I'm going to just start configuring our file. I've already npm installed OpenAI so that we can get those. And now I'm going to add these right here to our code. I've already put another file that has my OpenAI key and my OpenAI organization ID, just in case it needs that for configuration. But I just wanted to not put those on this page because for one, I don't want to share my API key, and also it's not good practice to actually have those public on GitHub repos. So I'm going to put the API key, and I'm going to just put that to OpenAI key. And it seems like that is all we need. We don't really need the OpenAI organization ID for this, so that's good. Okay, so I was just debugging for a long time because I was wondering why this code wasn't working. I was calling the OpenAI API and I was trying to set this other text to be the output of this text. And I just couldn't figure out why. For the longest time, I was just doing this. Whereas if I do it like this, then it worked. And over here in the documentation, I didn't see any data field being outputted. So like that got me for a long time, but some random person on YouTube's video and incorporating GPT-3 just used data. So then I put data in here and then it ended up working. So I don't need this log anymore. But as you can see, it's gonna take in the full input text as the prompt. Hello, or like say, I'm gonna say, what is the meaning of life? And then we should get an answer. The meaning of life is a question that has been asked by people throughout history. There's no one correct answer. So now we know that GPT-3 is plugged in. So we're 90% of the way done with the problem that I'm trying to solve. And what we need to do now is to go back into the playground and see what we need to make this prompt to get the actual responses that we want. So now we're going to go back to the playground. And first of all, I'm going to be candid and say I've been working with GPT-3 and I know what type of prompt will be able to get the response that we're looking for. So, trying to help a friend relay an issue to a boss in a polite way. Please, your job is to translate the issue. That will be simpler in a more positive light. And then we're going to take it in a rant. I'll call these rants to zero context, and I'll paste in the actual example way before you can see it. Translation, I'll put like this, and then I'll submit. Okay, and that actually did what we wanted right there, right off the bat. So I think that is already good, but I'm going to lower the models because again, let me actually show you personally that the pricing over here, Ada is the fastest and DaVinci is the most powerful, but as you can see, like we're talking magnitudes difference in price per 1,000 tokens. In this specific response, we can actually see used 84 tokens. So you can see how quickly these tokens can actually add up. And the lower we can go, the better. So in my experience, Babbage seems to also do a pretty good job with prompts like this, whereas Ada might mess up a little more. So I'm just going to see if this prompt works in Babbage, and we're probably just going to go from there. Okay, so that did not give the response that I wanted. Let me try going up to Curie. Okay, so that is good. Let me just go to Babbage one more time because I thought that it would work. Okay, so it seems to be confusing the prompt. But Curie, let me just check one more time if it gives consistent output. Okay, so this is good. Fundamentally, we need the prompt to say this, and then we need to put user rant, and then we need to put the input here, and then put a translation. So let's see what we can do in our actual app. Okay, so now we're doing the prompt, and this is going to be exactly what we have there in the playground. We have the you're a chatbot trying to help a friend relay an issue to a boss in a polite way. Your job is to translate the issue that will be received in a more positive light. And text Curie 001. I'm going to go ahead and change this. So I'm going to take my example prompt over here, and I'm going to put it into my app. There we go. I have a lot of difficulty focusing at work because my work treated me badly. Okay, so that is the main functionality that I wanted to do. I'm actually really stoked about that. It's plugged in, it's working the way that I want to. Now it's a matter of making everything look right. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I don't really know how to, but I'm gonna see if I can. App.css. Okay, so there we go. The font just changed. I was able to put some config stuff in the CSS file. We see that it changed a couple of these different things. Now everything is centered. There is some padding. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and move this button to the bottom because I think the way that they have it is better anyway. Let me go to here and let me see if like the header, can I do some sort of background color blue? Like, does that work? Okay. But I want it to actually be the color in my design, which was over here. So I need that to be that light blue type of color. In Figma, you can go here and then actually see the hex code for this. So then I can get that and then just put the hex code there. And that should give me the color there. Perfect. And then I did want to have that like bottom portion that gave the disclaimer. So, yeah, let me see if there's anything else I'd probably want to do. So yeah, I've gotten in a pretty good place now. I don't want to progress this any further because I know this has already been a very long video. In the next video, I'm going to actually get this app, add ads to it, add a tip button, and then deploy it onto servers so that you all can try it on your own devices. As always, thank you so much for supporting me and watching me, and I'll see you in the next one.